John?
Yeah, I was going to say, if you there's a narrative being offered by the media, but they never cover the impacts. They never connect the dots. All someone has to do if they want to learn, like was it Michelle's daughter?
Yeah.
Okay. Why are we paving over all the farmland? Why are our emissions going up? Why is our productivity low? Why is there more congestion in the cities? All these factors, like there are just dozens of impacts, and they're not being addressed by the media. They may talk about, oh, it's too bad we're paving over our farmland. It's too bad our emissions are going up, but they don't say why. And I think the average person, when they're exposed to this concept, it becomes pretty obvious very quickly why. But you have to get through the mentality, the brainwashing, if you will, the channeling that the media's sort of imposed on us over the last 30 or 40 years.
Exactly. There's a lot of brainwashing, conditioning, and some of them, coming out of these establishment parties and the media, is that immigration is good for the economy. This is false. And tonight we've gone through a number of reports disproving that claim. We believe mass immigration is harming Canada in so many senses. And we need a temporary pause, a substantial reduction. That's our policy on that. And some more indoctrination is that Canada is a country of immigrants, John. That's another classic indoctrination myth. And I think that's something you touch on in your report, isn't it?
Yeah.
Could you talk a little briefly about that?
Okay. Well, Canada was founded by a couple of pulses of immigrants from Europe. Very desperate people. Only very desperate people migrate, and certainly the French peasants who migrated here, I think about 15,000 of them in the 1600s, were desperate, and as were the English colonists. So we had these pulses. Now, once you take a group of people and put them on a very rich resource base, they tend to multiply. Population tends to grow very rapidly, and that's what happened. Quebec, basically, the vast majority of their population grew up from that 15,000, actually 5,000 went back, so the 10,000 that stayed. That you're talking about a doubling every 25 years or so. And so out of that, you get 6 or 7 million Quebecers. And at the same time, we were exporting people from Quebec and from Lower Canada and or Upper Canada, Ontario, and the Maritimes, because we were having so many kids. If you're brought up on a farm with lots of food, we just tend to breed. That's human nature. And so we were exporting people to the Americans. They were taking jobs in the American factories. They were going out west in the U.S. And so most of the time, Canada was exporting people. And we never depended, aside from the initial pulse of colonists, we never depended on immigration to build this country. And when we did take in immigrants, they were put in places where Canadians didn't want to go, like the prairies and maybe a couple of other areas, because they were less desirable. So that was a strategic reason. Now, since the 1960s, we have immigration to expand the economy, not for national welfare, not to make the Canadians or the country healthier or more stable, but just to build the commercial economy. And that's a huge change from the founding forces which created the country. And let's also say that when Europeans moved to the Americas, they colonized the Americas. 40 to 90 million Amerindians, the natives in North and South and Central America, they died off over about 150 years. So we did not move into an empty space. We colonized it, and we effectively destroyed those civilizations that had been here before through disease, war, genocide, and displacement. So immigration, while a victory for us, and it's the media romanticizes the struggles of the immigrants, it came at an immense cost to the indigenous people.